What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we are going to talk about a peach-flavored iced tea in the Faber-Castell Loom fountain pen. So this iced tea is called Just Peachy, once again from David's Tea. This blend is exclusive to David's Tea as well, but you know, even though it's a Canadian-based company, you can get it in the States as well if you head over to davidstea.com. So that's pretty cool too, and I'm pretty sure the pricing is the same. This tea literally smells like fuzzy peaches. So it kind of comes in a cardboard box here, and you just kind of have the bag of loose leaf tea popped inside it. Like I said, it literally smells like fuzzy peaches, and it tastes pretty close to fuzzy peaches as well. Not as sickly sweet as fuzzy peaches can be. But if you've ever had like a peach juice, it kind of tastes similar to that, but just less sweet, less syrupy, because it's tea. It's not from syrup. But that's honestly the most accurate I can get to that. There are candied pieces inside the tea itself, so you don't have to add any sweetener to it. What I do is I actually, like when I put it in my pitcher, there's like a filter on the inside, which, spoiler to an upcoming video, is going to actually kind of be like loose leaf tea 101 kind of thing, showing people how I steep my tea. So I got, metal filters, I've got pre-bagged ones, I've got plastic filters, I've got a couple different ways that I do it, and this one will be one of the ones I show. So, upcoming video, spoiler. But I don't actually take out my tea leaves. It tells you to steep it, for like 7 minutes and then leave it. I actually leave mine in all the time. I don't take it out until the water's gone. Like the juice or the tea or whatever you want to call it is gone. I like it really strong, and I think that it just tastes better flavor that way. Plus, I don't typically ice my tea, if that makes sense. I'll make it like in a full pitcher, and then I'll put it in my fridge, and I'll just let it get cold that way. And should I choose later, I'll put a few cubes of ice if I want it super duper cold. I typically don't like iced teas that get brewed with the ice itself, because I find it gets really, really watered down. And this way I can kind of make it more like concentrated. This one is pre-packaged. This flavor, for whatever reason, David's Tea decided not to sell it loose, which I think is kind of a mistake, but that's just my opinion. So you have to buy it in this package, which has 85 grams or 3 ounces, and it's $15. So it's a little bit pricey, but for me it's worth it because peach juice was my absolute favorite juice to go towards. And I don't drink juice at all now. I only really drink tea or water or things like that. So this is a great alternative for me, and it tastes really, really good. So today I have paired that tea with the Faber-Castell Loom. This is the piano finish, so it's the super shiny one. There is a matte version as well. So it's the exact same color. Like, you can get different colors as well, but I got the purple. But this, like I said, is the piano finish. Going back in time to when I bought this, I would prefer to get the matte finish than this one, because the material here does show fingerprints, so you do kind of have to like wipe those off. If that bothers you, it may not bother you at all. This pen has a pretty chunky weight to it too. It's one of the heavier pens that I've used that still have steel nibs that aren't too like fancy as far as design goes, but it's almost solidly metal, so I think that's why. It's not nearly as heavy as like a Karis Customs pen, but it's much, much heavier than like a Pilot Metropolitan, significantly heavier than a Lamy All-Star or Safari. It's heavier than a Platinum 3776. It's a pretty good weight. It has a very nice clip. It's really springy without feeling like it's like too springy. And you can actually see in the top that it moves with that clip as well. It is a push to post, and it posts very, very securely. And this is one that I actually do post. even though I typically try not to because I just don't like it. But to me, it's better balanced when it's posted. When it's unposted, it tends to be like fairly nib heavy, and it just kind of bugs me a little bit. But you still don't have to. And there is a design on the cap itself that says Faber-Castell. I really like their logo, but the thing that I like the most is that it's muted. So it's not, you're not going to notice it. Like if you're just sitting beside somebody, that person's not going to notice it. But when you are looking at it, you can see it, and it's nice. And I also like the Faber-Castell logo on top of the clip as well. It is a standard international cartridge converter pen. This pen does not come with the converter, or at least mine didn't. And as far as I'm aware, they still don't. So that's a factor. It's only about $5 for a converter, but something to be aware of that does add to the additional price. American pricing is $45 for this pen. So Canada, that works out to roughly $57. So like I said, $5 American for the converter, which is about $6.25 for Canadians. So I have a standard international converter in it right now. The converters, I'm going to throw a little bit of a caveat to that, because there is a Faber-Castell branded standard international converter, which I don't have, because I have, I think, 7 of these standard international converters. The very first one I tried didn't fit. It just kind of bobbed up and down. It didn't have a good grip, but yet it works just fine in every other pen that I have. So if you get one and for whatever reason it doesn't work, just kind of have that in the back of your mind that, just try another one and that one may work as well. I've never had an issue with the cartridges though. A couple things I dislike about this pen is there is a little gap in between the nib housing and where the grip section begins. So ink tends to get stuck there when you fill the pen. So that's a slight annoyance just because you do have to take that extra step of cleaning that out. But it's not like going to affect the pen or anything like that. One thing I didn't mention as well is that the grip section, whether you get the matte finish or the piano finish, will have a matte grip section. And there are little lines that go throughout them that gives you something to hold on to, so it's not slick at all, which I really like. One thing that kills me about this pen is that when you snap it closed, you really got to pull it to open it. This puppy is not going to open up on you in a bag, in anything on its own, because you've got to put some intention behind uncapping it. It doesn't uncap easy. Not eyedropper this pen either, because the body and the threads are metal as well. So you do have to use a cartridge or a converter. The nib is pretty decent. You get some good flow, and it's fairly, it's definitely smooth, and it's fairly responsive when you write. It's a little bit stiff for me, but, for a relatively cheap pen, this is kind of a good option. I have not worked on this nib whatsoever, and again, I'll show you in the writing sample in a second. I would like to make it a wetter writer. But speaking of, let's actually jump into the writing sample and I'll show you what I mean. So this ink that I'm using today is Private Reserve Plum on Clairefontaine paper with the Faber-Castell Fine nib. This nib is a little fine for me. I would like it probably to be a little bit broader, so if I were to go for this pen again, I would get a medium. This is a loud nib. No matter how hard you press or how light you press, you hear it. And that's not to say that it's not smooth or anything, because it is. It's, it's pretty smooth. There's not like it's scratchy or anything like that. It just has a little bit more feedback. An audible one, definitely. But as you see here, like there's no skipping or anything like that. There's no hard starts, but I think that's also partially because the cap is so hard to take off. So when you uncap it, it's pulling some of the ink out of the nib and feed. So it usually starts up pretty good. It's a little stiff for my liking. When you're just normally writing it, it's pretty stiff. You can coax the smallest amount of line variation out of it, but you're really not going to get anything. Reverse writing, which is really hard to spell when you're looking through a camera, is pretty smooth. You're not going to be able to go for super long because you'll see you're going to start to get skips and stuff like that. It will dry out. But, you know, for a few words here and there, absolutely you can. And then you're going to get really an extra fine line. As far as, you know, the wetness and whatnot, it's not the wettest pen in the world. You know, it's not the driest, but I wouldn't call it a wet pen by any step of the imagination. I would say it's closer to being a drier writer than it is a wet writer for sure. That said, you know, it's still a pretty solid nib. I wouldn't, you know, say it's terrible or anything like that. It's an average nib. It's a good, solid, average nib, I would say. Would I recommend it? Yeah, probably. Like I said, I would recommend the matte finish instead of the piano finish, but yeah, I like it. It's, you know, not too bad. It's nothing that wows me, but it's definitely nothing that disappoints me. So guys, that is going to be it for me today. If you liked the video, please hit that like button. If you really liked the video and haven't subscribed already, please do so. And as always, don't be afraid to leave any comments, questions, or concerns down in the comment section below. I read them all and I will answer them as fast as I possibly can. Guys, I will see you next time. Bye.